12.5 gauge high tensile wire is quick to destroy the cutters on fence pliers, side cutters, and the cutters that you typically find on pliers. They also require quite a bit of force, unless you use a compounding plier or multi-tool like the SOG B61-L. Though the cutters on those also did not fare well against the high tensile wire, the compounding plier mechanism did make it a lot easier to cut through it. Sadly, along with my dual force Gerber multi-tool, both have returned to the earth during the many farm projects over the years. What does work well on 12.5 gauge high tensile wire is bolt cutters. Here's a relatively small pair I have. They are not very convenient for working with fence wire, but they do the job well. They're also quite rusty. I would advise anyone to think twice about before storing tools in a barn with animals in it. Humidity and the dust from bedding really seems to deteriorate exposed metal quickly. With having pretty much destroyed or lost most of the tools I have on hand for cutting high tensile wire, and another large fencing job ahead of me, I decided to buy myself some mini bolt cutters. I first went to Tractor Supply, who had these mini bolt cutters in the fencing supply section for about $22. They were packaged as wire cutters that can cut high tensile wire up to 12.5 gauge. I then went next door to Harbor Freight and found a pair of almost identical looking cutters in the pliers section labeled bolt and wire cutters that generically stated they can cut hardened wire. After freeing the mini bolt cutters from their packaging, they seem pretty much identical in size and features. The handles on the Tractor Supply pliers are skinnier and harder, with ridges that dig into the ungloved hand. The molding on the Harbor Freight handles are thicker, and the material has more grip to it. The locking clasp on the Harbor Freight cutters also seems to be easier to engage. Finally, the blades on the Tractor Supply cutters are off-center, while the blades on the Harbor Freight pliers are centered. For the new fence project, I'm using Stay Tough 1248-12-330 high tensile fixed knot fencing, and supplementing that with 12.5 gauge high tensile wire on the bottom of the fencing, and I'm also using it to brace the fences. To test the pliers, I took them both out and made my best effort to use each pair equally. After using both cutters on the first section of this fencing project, both cutters still performed about like they did when they were new. Both can still cut through 12.5 gauge high tensile wire with one hand if you're holding the cutters to maximize your leverage. Neither cutters show any significant wear or damage, and neither cutters perform very well when attempting to cut wire with the tip. Both, on at least one occasion, allowed the tip of the jaws to slide beside the wire, resulting in the jaws closing without cutting the wire. So if you're tired of chewing up the cutters on fence pliers, side cutters, and other general purpose tools, picking up a pair of the Harbor Freight wire and bolt cutters seems like a great option. Given the high price and uncomfortable handles, I can't see recommending the Tractor Supply cutters unless that's all available to you. If you'd like to see more of this type of content, consider subscribing. Thank you for watching.